more Ultimate Spider-Man. Check out this Joker statue I bought.
Look at it.
What is going on, guys? Welcome to this video. My name is Cameron and we are reviewing Ultimate Spider-Man issue 73, and this one actually focuses on Harry Osborn throughout pretty much the entire issue. And if you remember in the previous issue, we saw Harry Osborn return to the Ultimate Spider-Man series finally, and he knows Peter Parker is Spider-Man. He knows all this crazy stuff with his dad being Green Goblin, and it's just going to get crazier and crazier. If you remember the earlier issues of Ultimate Spider-Man, Green Goblin and Spider-Man were actually fighting each other, and Harry Osborn walked in, stabbed his father in the back, and then passed out. And then after that, S.H.I.E.L.D. took Harry Osborn off the grid. They kind of put him into hiding or something like that, and he's been gone ever since, and now he's finally returned. So that's like the backstory of where Harry Osborn has been. But now he's returned to his normal life, and well, it's not going to stay normal for long. We don't really get much of Peter Parker and Mary Jane in this issue, but like, of course, some of the best issues don't really need to have Peter and Mary Jane in them. In fact, one of my favourite issues, Ultimate Spider-Man issue 13, just has Peter Parker and Mary Jane talking in a room the entire issue. So we open the issue up and we go over to a week ago when Harry Osborn is reminiscing on what happened when he saw his father as the Green Goblin and Peter Parker as Spider-Man, and just looking at what's happening on screen, I get the sense that Harry Osborn doesn't clearly remember what happens just because of how faded and strange his flashbacks look in his head, somewhat as if it all happened so fast so he couldn't take it all in at the same time, and of course leading to blurred visions. Now this issue very much focuses around the character of Harry Osborn and what he's been going through, and you can see that Nick Fury himself is actually feeling sorry for Harry, because if you put yourself in Harry's shoes, his mother was murdered by his father has become a dangerous goblin monster, and now that his father Norman Osborn has been arrested, Harry Osborn is pretty much left with nothing. So if you put yourself in his shoes, you just have to feel sorry for his character. And what I like about this interaction between Nick Fury and Harry is that it really pushes you to the limits of seeing that Harry Osborn is kind of just caught in the middle of all this. It's not really his fault, and in the end it's him who's having to deal with the consequences. And some of those consequences even involved Harry Osborn being taken away by S.H.I.E.L.D. for weeks or months away from society, away from civilization. So Harry Osborn is very much the victim in this situation. Now moving over to some of the negatives of the issue, I wasn't a huge fan of how the narrative was told in this issue. There's a lot of a week ago, 6 days ago, 5 days ago, 4 days ago, and that is literally how the issue narrates itself as we go through the issue. And you don't really get the sense that this is happening in the moment. It's more or less as if it's already happened and now we're only just hearing about it. And of course that's not usually like that in the Ultimate Spider-Man comics. Usually the narrative is as it's happening, and that's what I like. So for me personally, I'm not a huge fan of the narrative being told this way, but of course it's not always like this. This is more or less just a one-off issue where it's told like this, so I will forgive it. I did, however, like the fact that the comic included that Harry Osborn was actually sat in a car watching Peter and MJ talking to Johnny Storm's Human Torch when Johnny Storm was actually still talking to Peter and Mary Jane before he took off to be in the Fantastic Four or whatever. And yeah, it was just interesting to see an alternate perspective from Harry's character, especially now that we know that Harry Osborn was dating Mary Jane, or was somewhat dating Mary Jane anyway, and then him sitting in his car seeing that Peter and Mary Jane are together now, that's going to cause some issues. So going into a little bit more about Harry's character, I think this issue does a really good job of showing that Harry has to kind of grow up fast. You know, like he's inherited all of his father's money, his family's money and all that crazy stuff, and so it seems like he's back on a mission to sort of fix his life. And you could see back there that Roxxon was actually trying to buy the land of Harry Osborn, and he was actually in charge and said no. And it really gives the sense that Harry Osborn has kind of had to grow up faster than what he should do, and that's until his father, Norman Osborn's assistant or whatever it was, pulls up and tells him to get into the car. And up to this point, it's like Norman Osborn is interfering with Harry Osborn's life again, and you can definitely tell that Harry Osborn is just like super confused at this point. He doesn't exactly know what he's doing. He's sort of just drifting through his life, trying to take control of the things that he thinks he has control over. And then when this guy turns up, it's like Norman Osborn has taken back the control of Harry's life again. And at this point I was genuinely feeling sorry for Harry Osborn, because he's like a lost puppy. He doesn't know what the heck is going on, and he doesn't really have anybody to talk to about it or deal with it with him or go through it with him, so he's on his own. So moving over to the person that's actually taking Harry to this secret location, I love how he brings this presence to the comic of all secrets revealed, almost like he's the person that knows everything. And it sort of makes me feel like he brings the darkness ambience to the comic, like he knows something that you don't. And where he's taking you is going to be the reveal of this major secret or something along those lines. And as we're getting through the issue, the craziest moment is when it's revealed that Harry Osborn wasn't actually in therapy. He was actually being hypnotized for months or years. I'm not too sure which one it is, but it was a long time. And for any of you guys that are a little bit confused, the words Celador have actually been hypnotized into Harry Osborn's head through all of these issues, and you might not know it, but the word Celador has actually been popping up in these Ultimate Spider-Man issues over the 70 issues that we've been reading this series. And so now that it's revealed that what those words actually meant, it was almost like a trigger to allow Harry Osborn to remember everything that's happened to him. And so what happens next for Harry Osborn is somewhat exciting and actually quite unexpected as well, so I can't wait for us to get into those things, see what you guys think about it. But until then, guys, let me know what you thought in the comments below about what you think is going to happen to Harry Osborn. That would be really interesting to know. And not to mention what you guys think is in the cellar door. What do you think is underground through these trapdoors in the floor? And as we're on the last page of the issue, I just want to say that I actually think that this final page was an awesome way to end the issue, kind of leaving you wanting to see the next issue, and I can't wait. So that is where Ultimate Spider-Man issue 73 ends, and of course, to find out more Ultimate Spider-Man issue 74, we are going to have to review. But what do you guys think is going to happen with Harry Osborn? I know I've just asked that at the end of the comic review, but like, I really want to know, because some of you guys have been saying things, obviously I already know, but I just want to see what kind of ideas maybe some of you guys will have. And it does get crazy, and it's really going to hit hard when Harry Osborn starts dealing with all of these things, especially what's happening with those things that are down in that cellar door or whatever it is. There is some crazy stuff down there, and that actually comes back around again in the future, I think, with that cellar door. Wait, does it? Regardless, the comic was awesome and the art style was phenomenal with it. It really put across that feeling of Harry Osborn, you know, feeling sorry for him. He's not really catching a break, and everything is kind of just going towards him. He's the victim in this situation, as I've already said in the comic review, and it's just going to get so much worse for Harry Osborn. Well, worse but better. Like, it depends what kind of perspective you guys have on it, so we'll have to see until that. I'd probably give it somewhat around an 8 out of 10. It wasn't too good, it wasn't too bad, and to say that Mary Jane Peter or Spider-Man action was not present in this issue, it was a damn good issue, especially focusing on Harry Osborn, who hasn't been in an Ultimate Spider-Man comic for ages. So they did really well with that. And on that note, guys, this is where I'm going to end the video. So if you want to click the link in the description and become a patron, then you can get these Ultimate Spider-Man reviews earlier than everybody else. You can get behind the scenes photos, videos, all of that awesome stuff. Don't forget, if you follow me on Instagram, you can get live updates of what's happening with the videos, like what's being recorded, what's being edited. Just follow me on Instagram, and yeah, you can see like the Instagram stories and everything like that, so that's pretty awesome. Hit the like button if you like these videos, and hit the subscribe button if you want to stick around for more. And last but not least, guys, I'll see you next time.